Hi and welcome to the 3 Cups Full blog. I'm Sharanya and I'm a life coach. At this blog we talk about how to live with our 3 cups full of love, acceptance and respect. We also talk about our inner voice and how to follow the guidance that comes from our soul through our inner voice to then live the path of our soul. This is an alternative to living the path that our mind creates for us, which is often laid with bits of fear here and there. Our soul is 100% unconditional love. So this week I wanted to share a little bit more about our biggest news, which is that we bought a house. And a couple of people have asked me this question: how did you know it was the right one for you? Like, how did you know it was the right one for you? And that brings me to, there's a difference between a house and a home. So prior to our beautiful holiday away in Costa Rica, we were looking for a house, and in that search we found plenty of options. We found so many different houses that had so many great characteristics, obviously pros and cons, but we didn't ever feel that any of them were right. There were a couple that we tried to make feel right, which is when it gets a bit confusing, but there were only houses. When we came back from our trip to Costa Rica, it was 6 weeks before we found the house. We went to auction, we bought it, and yesterday we got our home loan approved, which is fantastic. Tip is to probably get your home loan approved before you buy a house. We just did things a bit backwards. But we found a home, and we were very clear about what we wanted in a home. The thing that really changed the game for us stems from this story from Costa Rica. That was actually my husband's story, and I'm going to share that with you now. He went into this meditation yoga retreat with a lot of stress around house hunting, and when are we going to find the right one, and how much should we pay, and where should we live? You know, all the stress was going through his head. And during one session, he had this beautiful insight come up from wherever, probably his soul space, to help him get the insight into what would then help us find the right place for us. And he had this image of 2 different paths that we could walk down. And the first one started with him being inside a machine, and it had lots of cogs and circuits happening, and it wasn't pleasant. It was really grinding. It was really difficult to be in this space, and he could see himself as part of a cog, and he felt, well, this is what my life is. It's just day after day, work, sleep, a little bit of fun on the weekend, but mainly just a lot of grind. And there was a lot of fear around money at that time as well for us. But he saw himself in this machine, and he kind of got this path that unfolded from that space. So this is the path of the mind in my language. And he kind of had this insight of, 20 years from now, we would have 3 daughters, and he saw them kind of sitting in this shop that felt like a phone shop, where there's like fluorescent lights and sound and noise, and it was just mayhem. Nothing natural around him at all. And they were just sitting there with crossed arms, giving him the worst attitude, like, oh my gosh, Dad, how could you do that? Why would you even think that? And just the worst attitude. And he was thinking, oh my gosh, I've raised spoiled brats. What have I done? But he had so much compassion, because he realized they're not connected to anything other than consumerism, other than this machine, other than these cogs. And so in that machine, more is better, more is better. And so he realized that just felt so wrong. It felt so uncomfortable, and he didn't want his children to be handed down this machine and this cog. And in that moment, he kind of got this picture of a different version, a different path. And it was just a simple house, and it had a lot of space around, and it was very quiet and peaceful, and there were lots of trees, a bit like the scenery I'm in now. And it was really beautiful. And we just had one daughter, and he walked in to her room, and she just turned around to him and said, look, Dad, I've made a lamp. So it was just such a sweet, beautiful thing to see. And his heart just burst open, because the clarity hit him really hard that all children need is spaciousness and presence. And from there, their flower will grow. They're like an acorn. They've already got a blueprint of what their oak tree is going to look like. And our role, we feel, is just to kind of be the safety and the risk for them. So to help them understand what safety feels like and help them understand what risk feels like, so that they can then make really good decisions about their life, but not to control them in any way. And so that was so key for us, because we were looking at houses that were very close to the city, that felt very disconnected for us in particular. And what happened after he had that insight is that we went further out into different suburbs that we had originally not considered, and we just found the most beautiful place that helped us feel that spaciousness and presence. And his insight from that whole meditation was, your house is not an investment, it's a sanctuary, which is what works for us. It might not be for everyone, but that worked for us in that moment. And so we were looking then for a sanctuary, and we plan on having a family. And so for us, the home aspect needed to have space, it needed to have nature nearby, and it needed to be conducive to allow us to step into presence. And that's what gave us the clarity to then find the house and to resonate with the house when we walked into it. So my husband is super intuitive in this sense. He walked in and he knew this was the one straight away. It ticked off all our logical needs that a house needed, but then it just opened our hearts to what the home would feel like if this was our home. And everything lined up, and even though there were 4 other bidders on the day, the auction went to us, and we'll be moving in 2 or 3 months' time. So to answer that question, how do you know your house is the right one for you? You first have to get clear on your values, not just the practical aspects of the house. You have to get clear on the values that you want to create as a home for you and your loved ones and whoever's going to live there. Is it great for your pets? Is it going to be great for your children if you decide to have children? Is it great for your elderly parents that will maybe one day live with you? So what are the values that are important to you? And then from there, the clarity will hit you. And when you walk into the house that resonates with both house and home, you'll know it. You'll feel it. And things will match up for you if you keep your vibration high. It will be yours. You'll just know that it was meant for you. So it certainly was like that for us. And I really pray and hope that you have a similar experience if you're also on the house hunt or home hunt and you find your treasure at the end of that whole experience. It's a beautiful thing when you walk into a place and it's really a home for the people that live there. It's a beautiful, beautiful feeling. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, definitely subscribe at 3cupsfull.com.au at the blog there. And if you found it helpful, definitely share it with your friends. So as an ending note, think about your values and think about what a home would feel like for you as opposed to a house. Definitely share your comments below. I love reading all your comments, whether they're private or public. It doesn't matter to me. It's lovely to connect to all of you. So I will see you all next time. Bye for now.